Okay, so we're going to pick up where we left off yesterday. We're going to be implementing more of the SignalR communication layer. But one of the things that we need to do is we need to have a component in the Angular app for rooms. The way that this app works is that you can join different it's like you have your own home room that has a room code, but then if all the other public rooms that people are on, you can join those as well. But you're only allowed to join one room per session. What languages am I using? I'll be using ASP.NET, which is C#, for a web API for the back end, and then I'll be using TypeScript and Angular CLI and JavaScript for the front end, and some HTML and CSS. Okay, so to get started on our rooms component, the first thing that I want to do is, just one second here. Well, we need to serve our app, we need to set up the back end, and then we need to create a back end for rooms, and then also a component here. Okay, so we don't have anything for rooms. So let me take a look here under my web, where am I doing this? I'm doing this under a hub. I should have here a message, which is, I have one here called request user information. And then I want to have another one here called public asynchronous task, which is going to be request room. Just a second. So on my client app, let's go ahead and do a new collection here. Or I'm sorry, we want to do an ng serve open to start up the app. And then we'll start up another terminal session. And I want to do an ng generate rooms. Generate component rooms. And ng generate service rooms. Here's our app being served correctly. So now what I want to do is look in my app, and I should have a new rooms component, and I do, and this new room service, which will add into the correct location. Now in my home component, we're going to want to add under my, so you have app chat here for app home. So in my app component TS, one thing that I'm doing here when I'm starting my app component is I'm starting my auth, but I want to start the chat component here. So when I look at my app component HTML, we'll have our router outlet, and then if it's authenticated, I want to just have a app chat component. So that way we're always having an app chat. Then I also want to add here something called rooms. We can get rid of this YouTube one. And so now when I look at rooms, we need to have a service on here. So the first thing is I have a chat service, which I really want to change the name of this to be well, because you have one here for a chat service, but you also need one for, so I want to change this thing and make it a hub services. So we're going to make a new ng generate service called hub service. And now what I can do is look at my hub service and bring in my chat service elements. Bring that into my hub service down here. And then we need to include the namespaces, which were here. Now I can delete my chat service. So you have in here something called receive get user info. We need to have another one of these for a room received, which will be a I room. So you have a receive message, which you can call from our code. We have a send message, a receive message. This is invoked from SignalR, from the server. We have a send message. We'll move this up because that's a client class. Where are you using get user info? Oh, this is to read my observable variable. So I want to have another one down here called get room, which will be a observable of iRoom, which is a room received. Okay. So this is going to request the user information here. On my connect to hub. Right here. On receive user information, then I want to fire this event. On receive room, we're going to pass in here a room, which is called an iRoom, and we want to say this dot. Now we don't need this anymore. And I probably don't need this one. And this can be a private application user room. So in this one, if we're passing in a room code in my query parameters, then I want to assign it to room code here. And then this one is going to be a receive data, and we want to do a like that. And in this one here, we don't need that. And this is room received. Sorry. Okay. This is where you're creating a chat message to send, which is passing in your user room current. Where are you invoking request user information from? Okay. I'm wondering where I invoke that from. Request user information. here in account component. So we're still saying that in my app module that I have a type of chat service, which I've removed. So this is gone. This is now called hub service, which is a hub service. Okay. You have one here which goes away. This is hub service and hub service. And we need to change this to be a hub service.messages. And then also on this thing, I need to add this into a different area, which is I don't want to show this on screen. It's one of my auth config. So I want to add in here a hub, which is called a hub URI, which is that. Never mind, because that's inheriting a class from Angular, so we're okay there. I wonder, do you have like a clear or like a, that's fine, okay? I don't think your home component has that class in it, no. And I think that that's it. So now in your rooms component, you want to have in here a list of rooms. So you're going to have a rooms is a iRoom array equals a new array. Okay. And then I also want to have in here a room current, which is a iRoom. We're also going to need to have in here a private hub service, which is a hub service. And then we need to have an ng on init, which needs this. Never mind, because this is a service, my bad. And what I need to do is I need to have a event on hub service here, which is we need to pass in to room service a room code. Or we just need to get all of the rooms. So on the hub service, I need to have a request rooms, which is going to invoke on my hub connection this dot hub connection dot invoke request rooms. Okay, so we're going to call that here in my hub service.request rooms. And I need to subscribe an event onto this one up here, which is a receive rooms with an S, which will pass in rooms as an array. Like that. We need to make a new event here called rooms received, which is a array. And now we should be good to go. We need to assign that, like how we did here, where in my constructor, oh, you should have put that in component service. That's okay. I need to make a subscription, so we're going to say subscription equals a type of subscription. And this is a get rooms on my hub service, request rooms. This is, whoops, this is request user information. No. This is get room, and then we need to have another one here called get rooms, which is an observable of the array of iRoom. And we want to do a return this dot rooms received dot as observable. So this is get rooms. We want to subscribe these rooms to be rooms equals room. Like that. And now on my rooms component, we want to have a get rooms, which will be a void. And you want to do a this dot, and we need to pass in here a private rooms service. Which is a type of room service. And we're going to do this dot get rooms. If I look at this thing, it's this dot room service dot get rooms. Just a second. Which needs to do a rooms received on hub event. So never mind, let's move this room service for now to be just on the component as a hub service. Well, add subscription in here. Rooms and room current. like that. Now I can get rid of my room service because we're not going to use that. There. I was like, what's going on here? That looks really funny. Okay. And now this, it's actually going to be a this.hubService.requestRooms. Okay. Now what we need to do is write some HTML for this. So I should have like in my messages, we can use this as a guide. And we're going to say, this is called rooms. We're going to say let room of rooms with I equal to my index. And we're going to do this as let's open my interfaces class and look at iRoom, which has a room code and is room public. So this is room.room code. And that needs to be as an A. So I wonder if in Angular, there's a Angular CLI link. Hyperlink. That's fine, I don't care. nghref. So we'll do an A and then an nghref equals my http://localhost 4200/rooms and then we want to get a detail which will be a ID is equal to room.room code. I don't know if that's going to work, but we can sure try it. And otherwise, if rooms.length is less than that, then we want to say no rooms. Okay, let's start up the backend. Template href doesn't know that. Okay. So we look at rooms and it says cannot match any routes to rooms. So in my app routing module, we need to have one here. We can get rid of this one. We want to have one for rooms, which is a room component. And it says can't read the value of undefined. So if I look at my rooms component TS, right? And then if I look at my HTML, if rooms is equal to null or rooms is equal to undefined, what is rooms equal to here? If I look at rooms component, this should be equal to just none. Just an empty array. So when you're requesting the room here, we invoked request rooms, which over here we're going to say is called public asynchronous task called request rooms. And in this one, I want to get a try and a catch, and I'm going to do a var rooms equals await services dot read rooms asynchronous. So if I look at my service here, we need to add in a read rooms asynchronous, which will pass and return a list of room DTO as an array. And then here, now that that's done, I want to do await clients.caller.send asynchronous receive rooms, and we're going to pass across the rooms. Which here we assign this and fire the event, which should update rooms and update my HTML. Let's give it a run. Okay, I forgot to add in the service here called read rooms. So we'll add that right here as read rooms asynchronous, passing in a DTO. We want to get all of them where they s.active and my s. is room online and s. is public. And this is going to be a where and then a to list asynchronous. And this is called entities. And now I want to have a var DTOs equals a new list of room DTO. And I want to do a entities.forEach. I want to do a DTOs.add, and we're mapping to a room DTO from my S. Like that. So now this time when I join and I do a login, and now I do a rooms, we're invoking rooms here, which passes receive rooms. So now in my rooms component.html, if I look at my messages, we're actually assigning this to the hub service messages. So does that mean that you're even ever using an event on messages? I don't think so. Yeah, we're just assigning it directly as a reference. So let's do the same thing here. This dot hub service dot rooms. So now if I look at this hub service again, this time I wanted to have a rooms, which is a list of room, like that. And then here we want to do a this.rooms equals rooms. We'll run it again. Cannot read to lowercase of. So if I looked back in my app module.ts in home, where is it? You know exactly what I'm looking for. I had in here a route. Where was that route? This one. Hub service has an activated route. And that's because I could be passing in a room code here. So now if I reload it, still getting the same problem. Let me try it again here with a different login. Hey there, Z Shantaboli. There we go. Now we got it cleaned. So I wonder if I remove this again and try it. Yeah, see, so it can't find it en route. So if I was to comment this out, no. So it's not from this little bit. It's got to be from my login, log out, and then implicit flow. but it is joining the hub. So when I look at rooms now, it's going to request the rooms here and send them back. Now it's saying that my ngIf of messages.length, and that would make sense. So in my rooms component, it's rooms.length. And now it says no rooms. So now we'll actually pull some rooms. Let's try it again. Okay, when I look here, we're going to read them, which it's 2. Liver Dev Trying and Liver Dev Trying Rob. We're going to pass those back. And now when I break on this, which is under my rooms component.ts, I can break on my, oh, we commented it out because we have it directly here. Try it again. There. Interesting, so that worked. So still in my home component, it's the only place where it's logging me in. So I'm going to move this to my app component. Like that. So now it'll make sure that I'm logged in. Hey there, Oliver, 1803. It's been a bit. How are you doing today? And now I need to, on my home component TS, move this stuff over to my app component.ts. So it was in my home component.ts. I'm going to pull these 3. Oops. I want to put that on my app component.ts. There. And then I also want to, in my home component, remove claims and has loaded profile. And now I can get rid of the home component. On my routing, I can get rid of home. I can pass this to be rooms. Room service component. Let me stop it and do another compile on it. Good morning, the crazy. How are you doing? Welcome. Cannot get because we have a couple errors here. That looks fine. Home component. Stop it again. Give it another try. Hey there, Volt Camp Fulfill. How are you doing? Save the files. They're saved. It's just being funny. Let it build again. No. There's no more home. Failed to compile. Rooms component TS 35. There is no rooms component 35. Am I learning Angular? No, I know Angular. I'm not great at it, but I mean, that's why I'm using it, to get better. All right, here we go. Rooms and account. So we'll log in. Looks good. We'll look at rooms. It's going to request the rooms here. Looks good. For some reason, it's invoking it twice because of this. Now, the reason why this is not working correctly is because we still need to get my OAuth service So let me see real quick here. If I look at my hub component, my hub service, sorry, I can remove my rooms received variable and here. But let's leave it like this and remove rooms here. Like that. Still invoking it twice. Because you don't need it here and there. It needs to be just once. Now, if I look at my OAuth service, not that one. Where am I using OAuth service? Get access token here. Connect to hub is working. So we really want to pass a function in here which is called So when in my app component.ts, why not no framework at all? To be honest, I've never used Angular, React, or Vue. I've always relied on creating my own tiny components if you're JavaScript and more use TypeScript. Because Angular offers it's very fast. It automatically scaffolds out services and components for me. It's really nice. And Vanilla.js gets really spaghetti, to be honest. I know you can prevent that, but okay, so it does that when it loads the app component. But you need to fire something after we get the is auth. So let me look here at my, hold on one more time. That's called from a button. That's called from a button. That's why I say not Vue. It's faster and less boilerplate code. I like Vue. It's good when I'm working in ASP.NET Razor. So what I want is I want this thing to auth in first before it loads rooms. So we want it to absolutely show app chat. And then we want to do the router outlet. Which could be rooms. Which is subscribing them here. Let's just do that. Yeah, it's all the same, you know what I mean? So it connected to the hub, okay. Yeah. When I look at my hub, it should be invoking start, and then on connected it'll do receive data. Which is up here. And set that data. And now I want to do a receive rooms. Request rooms. Now it's working. So if I log out and we start at rooms and now I log in, there, it requests the rooms okay. It also needs to here do a this dot hub service dot request rooms. There. Okay. So now what I want to do is I want to create an actual room. So to do that, let me think about that for just a second. So to do that, I want to make a new room component, I guess, is how we'll do it. So generate service room. Generate component room. Oh no, what was it? Just a second. ng generate, I think it's ng generate. Angular CLI generate component. ng generate, yeah. And so now the room is going to have that activated route on it, right? So only the chat is connecting to the hub. So down here, under app component TS, I want to run the... No, we don't want to do that. My opinion, React is the least opinionated framework from the popular set. Well, I'm more of a backend guy, but from what I've seen, React balloons any project. It's all or nothing. Tons of files for a single page, not doing anything. And Vue always seems to be easier and less lines without sacrificing anything. Vue works really well if you're not using a full framework and you just need some object relate. You want to work with things as objects. Do you guys want to play a game? Here, let's play a game. Says it's sent. There it goes. Okay. So now that that's going, in my room, I should have in here somewhere a activated route that I can look at. It's in my service for hub. Here, if I have a room code, I'm going to pass it in as a room code. And I'm going to say that this is an ID. So that way when we point to room, we need to have here the private hub service called hub service. Right now we're voting You do maximum votes is the, so we're voting collectively as a team. So we need to have one with a maximum. Otherwise, I should change it so that it randomly chooses one. Okay. And now that should get the activated route on it. And now in app routing, we need to add in another component here called room component. We'll take a look at this again. Okay, so the link is wrong. Anybody know how to do a link better? What I mean by that is I'm doing this garbage and I don't like it. And you're trying to win these things. Okay, now it's taking me to rooms, which should be just one room. Okay, and now what I want to look at on here is a hub service.ts. And I want to look at right here. We'll load it again. And this time my room code is how do I step through just one step? Undefined. Yeah, I will style it. Yeah, router link will point me to using a router. Oh, I see what you're saying. Like that. Thank you. That's not working. No, that's a router link. I don't want that. If I look at my app here, this is a demo app that we made. We'll just look at it real quick. I mean, that looks exactly right. Hey there, 5 CMs. How are you doing? Welcome to the channel. If you have any questions what I'm working on, don't hesitate to put them into the chat. Let's do it like this. Okay. And then if I look at my router, room here, which needs to be with an ID here. Now it should work. Lovely. Okay. And now if I look at my hub service, when I join this again, it says my room code here is undefined. Okay, so let's find out why. If I look at my hero detail, TS, interesting. Oh, I see it. Okay. So what I'm doing here is now in my router, my app, where did it go? Here. And here, what I want to get is the constant ID equals this dot route dot snapshot dot param map dot get called the ID. And this needs to have in it the private route activated route come on guys, this zombie's gonna starve. Okay. So now when I look at this thing again, I want to this time get my room component .ts. We want to take a look at this. And this time, room code is undefined coming into there and into here. I didn't mean to step into it. It says it's not a number, so that would make sense because it's a string. Okay, so it's not updating this. Still not updating my room component.ts. So this param map is only returning a Ah, crap. Still says not a number. So, okay, so this mapping only works if it's a number. So if I look back at my service, let's move this to be a route activated route in here. And then I'm going to add here a room code, which is a type of string, like that. Let's try it again. Uh-oh, only one more to guess here. Okay, let's get it to reload here. This is in roomComponent.ts now. I no longer care about this. And now my room code is undefined. Cannot read query parameters of undefined. She didn't like that. Okay, so this time it's broke on it, and all right, now I've assigned the room code. So back in the rooms HTML where I was doing this, we wanted to do this as an ID. Plus this. Oh, that was I was working with the activated route. Why doesn't that work? So close. Yeah, well, we can just do it like that. Although it's not using router link then, which we really want, because I don't want it to reload. So I want to do a router link with query params example. So here, can I do a router link equals this, and then a query params equals ID and then room code. And let's see where this is getting hung up now. All right. Interesting. And passed it as an individual string. Why would it do that? Why would it? Why is it parsing this all out like that? You think it would be query parameters with a bracket equals ID is equal to room code with nothing else. All right, thank you. That did it. And so now, when I'm in the room, I guess I want to do one of these. If I look at my YouTube component, we want this stuff here, and put this into here. And in my YouTube component, I need to pass in a YouTube service. Like that. And then we have these things here, search snippet. Quantity wagered. Oops. We have an on ready, a request song, and a player state. Okay, I can scrap the YouTube component now. Shoot, I deleted the service, which I didn't mean to, so let me restore it. Pull out the service here. And then we can get rid of the U2 module. Okay. And now when I go to a room, it's got a YouTube component on it, and then it's got a search terms on it, and then the chat. Okay. I guess you are going to want a home component, which will show your own chat. So that's the same thing as a room component. It's just for home. So let me add that as a ng generate component called home. Heart. The string indicators are confusing, but I think the stuff is just arbitrary JavaScript code. Okay, I have a habit of shift delete. Okay, that looks good. So now I need to have this work where I do a search keywords and I do a request song, and it tells me currently invalid parameters. So let's see what's going on. If I look in my room component, when I do a search request song, that should load the search snippet. So if we test it, we can go to youtube.pixel horror studios. And take this one. I can copy the link. And we just want this. And we'll try bringing it in and request it. And that's working. So we need this thing to actually search. Another thing I wanted to do was on my app routing module, I wanted to have a home, which this redirects to, called a home component. I want to make sure that I have this in the routes, which I just added it, and then in the here. There we go. Okay, so one thing that I've noticed here is that my send a message is in my app component, but it actually should be in a room component or a home component. I know I also need to make a ng generate component called a queue. And then we're going to need one called a component for a currency. And then another one for a currencies. And let's start with that. So on my app writing module here, I want to have one here which is called currencies, which is a currencies component. And Let's see. Okay, so currencies I still need to wire up. And we have the basics of our room set up. So I'm going to take a short break. I'll be back here in, let's say, 10, 11 minutes. When we get back, we're going to continue forward. The next thing is that we need to implement our searching and our queue. So that'll be kind of fun. Our backend is mostly set up already, so we'll be able just to use that as it is. If you have any questions, make sure you pop them into the chat. Active Discord, also at our discord.pixelhorrorstudios.com. And I'll see you guys in just a little bit. Thanks for staying with me through the break. Don't touch that dial.